So now whatever the form handling programs we have done in JavaScript, you can convert everything into React here, form processing. So now let's see some more examples. Sales bill generation form, even we did in JavaScript. First, let's try to declare some state variables here. So purchase amount, discount, bill amount, some variables I'll declare. Next, we'll just remove this method. And of course, this one also we'll remove, we'll do it later. So here we will write some text here. So sales bill. First, we will ask the user, same code, nothing there. But according to React style, we have to write the logic. Input type equal to text on change equal to which one we are changing. So purchase amount e dot target dot value. Next, we'll write inside like your discount is. So here the user will not enter input. So that's why no on change event. Directly we will assign the value here like discount. So because this is the input data, we are writing on change event. But here we are printing the data, so that's why no need to use it. Similarly, we'll write here like you have to pay. Just we'll write bill amount like this. Once done, button, I'll write here generate bill. And of course, I can use a method, this dot show bill. This dot show bill, something I'll write. So now the form appears like this. So we can enter some input data, generate bill, it has to process. But we have not created it. So that's why let's take the method that is show bill. Any function you take, but generally React, they use arrow functions only. It's not that you take anonymous functions, normal functions, anything we can take. Show bill equals to, first I'll take some variables. P amount, discount, bill like this to store the state values. So this P amount, what I will assign? P amount, we have to read the input from the user. The input entered by the user, purchase amount, it is assigned to the variable this state. So that's why how we have to read it. This dot state dot purchase amount. So once then you can use the process. Once done, we can do the process. If purchase amount minimum 5,000, then you can write it is up to us how much we want, we can give. Next, we'll take bill amount as this. Now, these two values, discount and bill amount, we have to send to the state variables. These two values, we have to send both values to state variables. How to update the state values? To declare the state, this dot state. To update the state, set state. Set state, yesterday we have used it, right? So this state variable discount, I will assign the disk value. This state variable bill amount, I will assign. So these are the local variables. First, we are processing the data in local variables, and that data we are sending to state variables there. Let's check. Let's try to run the program. Enter purchase amount 15,000. Okay, na? 20% discount, something like. Next, enter purchase amount 1,500. 5%, like whatever we want, we can write. Now cancel button. What we have to write there? Input type equal to, okay, button cancel on click equal to this dot clear. What we have to write? Clearing means what? We have to move the values to its previous state. What is the previous state there? Initially they are empty, right? So we have to move them to their empty state. We can write like this. So that when we say they will become empty. So just I will enter some data, generate bill. Click the cancel button. Click the cancel button, you will get like. So this way we can write a number of examples. Now you can do each and every program here, like class comp.js, save and run. That's it. If required, you can extend the logics also. You can extend the logics also, like what you can do if the bill amount exceeds. We did in JavaScript, the same program we are doing here. If the bill amount exceeds rupees 10,000, add 9% CGST and 9% SGST. So otherwise, what we'll do? Just we can add some 2%. Something, tax also depending on the input. Now, I want to perform validations also. Okay, we are processing the data. We told in JavaScript, processing is important, validations also important. So now tell me, you tell me how to write it. Electricity bill generation form. First tell me, what are the state variables? Direct you go for number of units. What we did in JavaScript?
Poles.
Huh?
Poles are amperes. Tube, what is the tube?
Okay, meter number, consumer name, we can do that. Basically, we need present reading, previous reading. So just here I will make them a little bit like this. number of units, then
Unit control.
yeah, we did the same in JavaScript. 3 times we have written the program. So how much you are practicing, we don't know. This is the state variable. Okay, the same state we will move where clear. No. Okay, we'll write this logic later. Now, how to design the form? Tell me. Okay. Next.
House number. Previous degree and the
You are.
So these are the state variables we have taken. So these state variable values, they must be placed inside the form. So what we have to do now? Enter present reading now.
So
Hmm.
this dot set state
This dot set state. Here also. Next.
discount. Previous conditions same సేమ్ ఇక్కడ పైన ఉన్నదే సేమ్ కాపీ చేసి డిస్కౌంట్ అక్కడ ప్రీవియస్ ప్రెసెంట్.
So enter previous reading. Next.
ప్రైస్ డిస్కౌంట్ దగ్గర యూనిట్ ప్రైస్ యూనిట్ ప్రైస్ అది మనమే డిఫైన్ చేసుకోవచ్చు.
So the third one, we have to print number of units consumed. So this is not an input value. So no unchange event. This dot state dot, which elements uses need input, for them only we'll use unchange event. So the values what we are printing directly will write number of units. Then the next one, price per unit. So this dot state dot price. And finally, you have to pay the bill amount value. So it appears like this. And the button, same method we can use a show bill and cancel already same method. Now what is the logic we have to write inside? Show bill.
లోకల్ వేరియబుల్స్.
So first we'll take some local variables. Something like this. Even state variables, local variables, you can write the same name. Just unnecessary confusion. That's why we are taking different things.
యూనిట్స్ ఇస్ ఈక్వల్
First, we have to read input from the form. First, we have to read input from the form. The user, whatever the inputs we enter, first we have to read them and then we have to make the process. Hmm. Just now in the previous example we did. Hmm.
Previous.
Now we'll start processing.
Present by experience.
Next, some conditions. Conditions we can write. So these values, it is up to us. Whatever we want, we can write there. Next, bill calculated as units into unit price. So we are reading the data from the firm. We are doing the process. Now again, we have to send the data to the state variables so that it is printed inside the form. So what we have to do now? So already in the state variables, present, previous values are there. Now number of units, unit price, bill amount, these values we have to set. Set state.
Finally equal to
Finally equal to.
present is equal to
Present, previous, they are already available in state. Because he is entering as input, we are already in state there.
unit price,
So we have to assign the other values.
number of units,
Number of units, here we will assign the units value. Unit price, we have to assign the price value. Bill amount, we have to assign the bill value like this. So the data, it is already inputs are stored in the state variables. That's what we are doing. On change equal to send the input data to present, send the data to previous. From these state variables, only present and previous are getting the data. These variables not getting. That's why what we are doing? We are doing the process and those values we are sending to state variables. So once they are sent to state variables, now what happens? So value equals to this dot state dot, the value will be pointed there. So that save and run the program. Enter present reading, enter previous reading, different type of inputs, we can see the result like this. So just to change the values, we can see like this. When we say cancel, input will be cleared. So different type of inputs, we can experiment the program so that we'll get the results like this. Read the data, process and send the output. Okay, no?
దీని కోట మోడ్ పెట్టొచ్చు సార్ మోడ్ వాల్యూ
Not
అవసరం లేదు ఎందుకంటే ప్రెసెంట్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది ప్రీవియస్ దానికి తక్కువ ఇచ్చింది కదా
So that's what we did the validations in JavaScript and DOM. Present reading must always be greater than previous. Then only do the process. Otherwise, display the error message. If the input is valid, then only process. The input is not valid, don't process. That's what validations. JavaScript we have done. So what condition we implemented there? In script, what is the condition we have implemented? Present reading must be greater than previous, otherwise error. So how to write it? Now I want to print error message. What should be the condition?
If
If
present greater
Present
less than
grade.
less than or equals to previous. If present less than or equals to previous, then we can use the alert dialog. Present reading
must be greater than previous.
and there we are using like f1 dot reset, so that reset button will run. But here we don't have reset button, all are normal buttons only. Now I want to cancel the input. To cancel the inputs, no need to write all the things again. So just what I can say, this dot
Here.
will call the method. If the input is invalid, don't execute the remaining code. So what to do? If the input is valid, do the process. Otherwise, display the error and stop. So what to do there? I don't want to continue the remaining code of the function. If the input is valid, now you see here. Just I'll run the program. Enter present reading, previous reading. If the input is okay, everything it will work fine. Enter present reading, enter previous reading. So what it is doing now? Generate bill. It is showing the error message. Clear means it is clearing all the data, but still number of units. This dot set state. It should not continue the remaining code. The function should terminate. Break is used with loops only. Breaks are used to terminate a loop or terminate a switch block. To terminate a function, no previous function there. If you call the same function again, then it will go on recursive. Okay. No. If the input is valid, do the process. If the input is invalid, so display the error, clear the form, return. No further processing. But in JavaScript, we did the same. We did the same using alert dialog, and the same example we did in another way also. Enter present reading, enter previous reading. Instead of alert, we implemented DOM. We implemented DOM there. Generally, nowadays, you are not going that alert messages. We are not getting that alert boxes. Some red color messages before, after, somewhere it is printing. So that type of alert I want. That type of alert message I want there. So what we did? So oh, this is not HTML, right? TD. Actually, I will discuss about it later. Styles we have to write in a different way here. Okay. This TD, we'll discuss CSS later. Why I have written like that, I will discuss later. ID equals to reading. Okay, if you want to make it bold means you can use a font weight. Something. Now what I will do, instead of alert, this message should be printed there. The element with ID reading. What is the statement? Which element has that ID reading? For that element, I want to write the text there. DOM, what we have written? Document object model. That's what we are doing there. So that if the input is valid, it will print the result like this. Suppose if the input is invalid, then it will display the message like. So whatever the style you want, you can use it. Form data processing, validations. So whatever we want, we can write like this. Once the processing is done, just say save and run to run the application. Actually, what is happening here is while rendering any data on the page, so while displaying any content on the page, we are using some HTML code, right? Actually, according to React, this is not HTML. According to React, this is not HTML. We call it JSX code. We call it JSX code. That's why I told you in React, the components will have an extension .js or .jsx. What is .jsx? JSX, it stands for JavaScript XML. JavaScript XML, that's what exactly we call JSX. So JavaScript implementing the XML style coding, that's what we call JSX here. So what is the purpose of JSX? It is used to write XML style code. Actually, JavaScript file means we have to write JavaScript code only. CSS file means CSS code only we'll write. But inside a JavaScript file, I am writing HTML. How it is possible? It is not possible. It means it is not HTML. So we call JSX tags here. XML style code for the JSX elements. There we are calling HTML elements. Here we are calling JSX elements. So what JSX will do? JSX makes the programming easier and faster. JSX, it makes the programming easier and faster. So what is XML? Extensible markup language. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of XML? Okay, what is the purpose of HTML? HTML. HTML, it is used to display data. XML is used to share data. Share data between the resources of an application. That's why in the language like Java or PHP or C Sharp .NET related applications, XML is used for configuration, application configurations we will use. And one of the alternatives of XML, we have JSON. JSON is the alternative. HTML, it allows built-in tags. XML allows users to create custom tags, user-defined tags. But if we want to create these XML tags, because it is like XML based, so rules for writing JSX tags. While writing the JSX tags, here we have to follow some rules. What are they? What are the rules we have to follow to write XML tags? HTML tag, any style, any way we can write. But to write XML, we have to follow some rules. What are they? The thing is, first, all elements, whatever using according to this standard, these elements, they must have a root element. Actually, when you take a HTML page, the root element of a HTML page is HTML. But it's not compulsory that you have to use HTML head title like that. So whatever the code you want, you can write. Optional there. But here it's not like that. All JSX tags, they must have one root element. The next thing, every JSX tag must be closed. Generally, while writing HTML code, if I write a H3, if I don't close the tag, nothing will happen. It's not an error. But according to XML5, that's why I have been telling you several times. HTML5, it was designed based on XML standard. That's what I am telling you. So, that's what here. But if it is an XML style coding, you must close the tags here. Not only that, JSX tags, they are case sensitive. Mostly when we are working with, they will be written in lower case only. HTML, I can start with H3, I can close with H3. It will work. But according to XML standard, this will not work. So attributes or attribute values of JSX elements, they must be coded. So these are some important rules we have to follow while writing JSX code. Now see here. When we take, suppose I don't use that much code here. Let's go for some other component. Funcomp.js. Or directly go to app.js. Okay. So div h1 welcome to React. Something I have written. Similarly, I have used h2, h3. So there are three elements available here. The parent root of all these elements is div. Div is a root element. Now suppose I didn't use a div element here. So there is no root available. If there is no root available, then when you move the mouse pointer, JSX expressions must have one parent element. All the elements, they must have one parent element. That's a rule. Next, every tag must be closed. Suppose I didn't close the div tag. If HTML, it's not an error. But here when I move the mouse pointer, so JSX element div has no corresponding closing tag. So it shows an error. And they are case sensitive. Suppose if I write like this div, again it will show an error message. Expected corresponding closing tag for div. Something is expected there. Of course, in HTML, what we can do, we can use uppercase also. So just I'll write div here. No error. Run the page. Div is not defined. Because this is not HTML. Because this is not HTML. In HTML, if you write div, it will accept capital or small. But XML, it won't accept there. XML, it won't accept. Similarly, I will write like align equal to center. When I write like align equal to center, you can see red color. So either curly braces or JSX element expected. When you are using attributes, the attribute values must be quoted compulsorily. Either they are uppercase or lowercase, whether they are single quotes or double quotes, they must be quoted. So that rules, those type of rules, they are followed by JSX. So why we have to use JSX? Because actually we said React is a JavaScript library. It's a pure JavaScript library. And inside the JSX, these are all JavaScript files, app.js, classcomp.js, everything is a JavaScript file. Inside a JavaScript file, how I can use HTML? Okay, that's not possible. But still we are using HTML. Why? React make it possible. Actually, that's not the correct way of processing. So, what React will do is, React transpiles the JSX tags into its equivalent JavaScript code. Okay, na? Actually, we are writing in HTML format. But internally, what it will do? That HTML code, it will convert it into its equivalent JavaScript code that can be run on all browsers. That can be run on all browsers. So why? Because actually in JavaScript, I want to create a HTML element. If we want to create a HTML element in JavaScript, actually we use a method document.createElement. Okay, this is what the method we have to use. Dynamically, I want to add a tag. I can write like, if I want to delete an element, document dot remove element. Like that we have to use. Okay, that's what exactly we have to use it. So, because if you start creating all these tags, if you start creating all these tags in this fashion, the code will become more and more complex. That's why to make the programming easier, the concept of JSX has introduced. Hmm? So just try to practice the form data processing. So tomorrow I'll show you what is JSX. With the JSX, how your code looks like. Without JSX, how it looks like. After that, CSS. How to implement CSS in React.js. That will start in the tomorrow session. Okay, na?